Welcome back to What to Know Before the Show. In this video, I want to talk to you about the importance of writing on your flip chart and a few important things to keep in mind when you buy your flip chart, you buy your paper, you buy your markers. That's going to help you translate your message clearly to your audience, even the ones sitting in further back rows. But first, I want to tell you a little story.
Oh, hi friends! Welcome to Story Time! I want to tell you a little story about a workshop I worked quite a while ago. It goes something like this. Once upon a time, in a magical kingdom, there was a woman who put on a workshop and asked yours truly to be her AV guy. She got to her offer, which is also known as your sales pitch. But unfortunately, she had chosen 3 things wrong. She had very small markers, a very flimsy tripod flip chart stand, and dark brown paper. As she began her offer at the end of her workshop, the little small markers did not show up on the brown paper, and unfortunately the tripod flimsy flip chart stand kept falling over. She became very sad, and because she was using a handheld microphone, she had to keep putting the microphone down so she could hold the flimsy flip chart stand up and keep it from falling over. Needless to say, her sales didn't go very well because no one could read the prices she wrote on her flip chart because of the very small markers, the very dark paper, and the very flimsy flip chart stand. The end.
So you want to remember the 3 things that this story has to teach you. Use a very sturdy flip chart stand. Now I recommend getting I call it the 4 points of contact. You've got 2 feet in the front. This one has a big bar in the back that basically offers, you want to bend the camera down? There you go. This one has a big bar in the back so that it actually, that's a big, that's 3 points of contact, but 1 really big one in the back. But you want to make sure that you don't use an easel. Easels are very flimsy, they can fall over at any time, so you want to make sure you have a really sturdy flip chart. The second thing to remember is to use clear paper. Like, don't use the cheapy brown stuff. You can get some. You want your paper to be white so that whatever you write on it really stands out from the paper. The third thing is to use big fat markers. Now, as you remember in the story, she used little tiny Sharpie markers, and people even in the front row couldn't see what she was writing. And unfortunately, they couldn't see the number she was putting up for her offer, that sort of thing. So you want to make sure that you use big fat markers so everything you write on here stands out really clearly. Also, a good thing to remember is that for each flip chart, use 2 colors, at least 2 colors. So let's go 2 colors. And because we're in Canada, we'll spell it the right way. There we go, 2 colors. Use at least 2 colors. What using 2 colors does, it gives each word that you've written equal weight. So each one stands out separately, but also if you hang these on the wall or someone's reading them, it gives each word its own weight. It stands out from the flip chart. If you have any issues with writing on flip chart, you're a little nervous or you're afraid you're going to forget something, what you can do is you can pre-write your flip charts. So pre-writing your flip charts is a great way to take a little bit of pressure off of you when you're on stage. And you can just have them all pre-written, and as you need to just go over to the flip chart, flip it, what you wanted to say on the flip chart is already written there. Also, drawing pictures on the flip chart is a great way to keep your audience happy and engaged with your content. You can just draw. You don't have to be a great drawer. Actually, I found people that I've worked with that use flip charts that are bad drawers, actually it's very endearing to the audience because they go, hey, I'm a bad drawer too, I guess I could use a flip chart. If you're a Picasso, you can draw really well. Sometimes that can be intimidating to people. It's almost better to draw badly on your flip chart, but still be able to get your point across, because then your audience goes, oh, well, I'm a bad drawer, but they're doing it, I could do it too. So you can pre-write your flip charts, really, really important. Another thing to keep in mind is that flip charts, using a flip chart as opposed to PowerPoint, allows you to keep what you've said in the forefront of your audience minds. So what you can do, this flip chart paper that I use is made by Post-it, and it's like a Post-it note. So there's a sticky side over here that you can stick these to your event room walls. So if you do a review in the morning, you can have these stuck on the walls, and you can just send your participants around to review with each other, because they can see them during your whole event. So you can refer to them during your event as well, because they're right there on the wall. Now check with your event room, your hotel or your convention center, because sometimes they don't like you sticking things to the wall. So double check. Also, some walls don't stick, stuff doesn't stick to it very well. So make sure if you're sticking to walls, it's not something that's like loose paint or concrete. Those don't really take flip charts very well. And also your hotel could be pretty upset with you if you pull off all your flip charts and you've peeled off the paint as well. In event rooms, if you've got an air wall, and air walls are the walls that they can actually slide through a big event room and make it into a smaller event room. It's got almost like this carpeting material on it, and these papers stick okay on, sometimes don't stick so well. So what you can do is get little safety pins, and you can pin these to the walls, and then just remember to remove all the pins at the end of your event. But these are some really good things to keep in mind when you're looking at writing on a flip chart. Another thing to keep in mind is that this paper from Post-it isn't very cheap. A pad like this runs in Canada about $60 for 30 sheets, which is a lot of money for some people. Some people not so much. So what you can do is find some cheaper paper, but just make sure that it is white so that your words stand out. And if you're going to stick the paper to the walls, that you get some good painter's tape. And painter's tape isn't as sticky, so if you stick that to the wall, you'll be able to peel it off and it won't take off the paint. Or you can use pins on the wall if it's that kind of that carpeting material. So remembering those things is really important if you're going to be using a flip chart, and that's what to know before the show.